Aspect Customer Experience India 2013.
I know there was a lot of interest in social media, and obviously we have our tool Aspect Social. So we're actually going to be very privileged to have Soumya. Soumya is our solutions consultant who specializes in Aspect Social, to take us through some of the really exciting things that Aspect is doing around the social media world and how that can help support your organizations, better customer service to the expectations of the younger and young at heart generation. Over to you, Soumya.
Yeah. Thanks, Edwin. Hello, good morning, everybody, and my name is Soumya. I am a solutions consultant with Aspect, and my area of focus is Aspect Social for APAC. So I believe I already met with quite a few of you yesterday, and from the sessions yesterday, I understand that there is a lot of social media buzz. There is a lot of interest in social media engagement. So what I am going to do today is introduce Aspect's new customer engagement platform on social media, which is Aspect Social. It was launched in the month of January, so it's like our New Year gift to you. And so what we would be doing today is we will first take a look at what do we have currently from the market in terms of social media engagement. What does the market have to offer for us? And I'll also walk you through how Aspect Social is going to be a differentiator in that area. And we will also look at a very short demo of how Aspect Social looks like. What exactly does it do? How can you leverage the interfaces for interacting with your customers effectively on those social media platforms? And yes, last but not the least, we'll also look at some of the key business benefits that we can avail of when using this social tool. So let's begin. The social landscape. So I believe this actually, everyone already knows how important social media is. So today, social media is the medium for everyone to communicate, for exchanging thoughts and opinions and anything under the sun. So we all use it quite extensively, and maybe it's time for the businesses also to take advantage of that communication. Because if you do see the power of social media, we often communicate with our friends, with our brands. We try to communicate with our brands as well. So you buy a new product today, you are bound to post over Twitter and Facebook. I'm just going to take Twitter and Facebook as examples because all of us use it. We identify with it quite a bit. So as opposed to trusting brand advertising, as opposed to actually a brand coming and telling us as to so we have this product, this works this well, we do this for you, we do that for you, but we actually tend to trust our friends and our peers over Facebook and say Twitter or LinkedIn and a whole lot of other tech forums that we have. So the numbers here show that 90% of us, we actually trust peer recommendations, and that is true. So let's take an example. For instance, I am quite an avid book reader, and I always buy books from Flipkart. So I didn't start buying books from Flipkart right from the beginning. It was after a lot of my friends told me that they give books the next day, so you should try it. And I love it. I absolutely love it. So that's just one example. So I didn't know about Flipkart until my peers told me that. And today when I do buy books, I always first tend to actually go to the site, read whole lot of reviews before I actually make a purchase. So this is just one example, and maybe we can look at those scenarios where we have had quite a few customers actually who were dissatisfied with the service over, say, traditional voice and non-voice channels. And then when they made noise over social media, they actually got the attention they wanted. So yes, this is kind of a negative thing to look at, but if we do use it to our advantage, then you can also, say, look at the positive side of it. So it's like, say, bad news travels 1,000 times faster, but good news will at least travel 200 times. So 14%, it's only 14% who trust advertising, as opposed to the 90% who trust peer recommendations. And apparently, the customers who do engage with brands on social media, they would spend up to 40% more, and that is true. So if you like say a bank, or like say Flipkart, for example, online shopping, a lot of us do it. In fact, it is the upcoming trend. No one really likes going shopping these days, going out and shopping, but we do a lot of online shopping. And say that if I say buy a book from Flipkart, like I said, and it's because I get regular updates from them over Facebook or say, even via Flipkart's own tool. So it's because of that I tend to go back to them again and again. So just, one example that I can think of. So what is happening here is that as a result, we really cannot ignore social media as the channel to communicate with our customers. We really need to incorporate that as a must-have medium into the contact center. So more than 50% of the CEOs today think that social media should be the primary way of engaging with our customers. And it's also true in a way, if you do, when I log into LinkedIn every morning just for a quick update, I see a lot of posts on social media, from business leaders saying that 5 ways to engage in social media, why social media should be the next big thing for customer engagement. We have at least 3 or 4 business leaders talking about social media every day and stressing on the importance of it. And as for a few of the surveys and statistics, they show that 88% of consumers are likely to buy less from companies who ignore their complaints on, say, Twitter or Facebook. And the current scenario is that 70% of tweets actually go unanswered. So what we actually need to look at here is, imagine 70% of your voice calls not being attended to. These are customers, your customers, who are actually looking to you for answers on Facebook and Twitter. But because you don't have the right tools in place, because you don't have a process yet in place. Sure, we all recognize the importance of it, but what we lack is just a tool to actually help engagement with the customers. So because of that, 70% of tweets go unanswered. And what are we seeing? So maybe the 30% of customers who are unsatisfied with, say, service on Facebook and Twitter, they might tend to call you or email you or chat with you, but you cannot ignore that a majority of them are going to, they are not going to be happy with what happened on Facebook and Twitter. So that is the current scenario as of today, and I think we are already aware of all of this. So what is it that makes social response more difficult? What is it that is actually an obstacle for us? So I already said there is a lot of buzz around social media. We all know how important it is, but what does the market have to offer us in terms of, say, engaging with our customers? We don't exactly have a tool for engagement. What we have today are more of social listening or social monitoring or the so-called social CRM tools. These are all synonymous. It's not really different from one another, but I'll give you an idea of what it is. So when I say social monitoring or social listening, what that does is essentially, so most of us have brand pages on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn. We do have. So what our marketing teams do is, their job is primarily to protect the brand reputation and the brand value. So they are going to be worried about, how many tweets, how many followers do we have on Twitter? How many tweets are we getting for something that we posted about a new product or a service? How many likes do we have on Facebook? Are we getting more likes than our competitor? It's even in the case of an individual, that is something that we see. Okay, I crossed 100 likes today. I crossed 1,000 likes today. So that's what marketing does as well. So do we have more likes than our competitor? How is the social sentiment about our brand on Facebook and Twitter? So that is the objective of a social listening or a social monitoring tool. What they do is a very coarse measurement of the social sentiment, which is nothing but just trying to measure if people are talking either good or bad about the brand. They really won't tell you what is it that they are saying. They will just tell you the sentiment as to, okay, so there are 70% of people saying that this is good, but then there are another 30% saying that this might not be good, this is something bad and maybe it can work on. But what you don't have today, you can definitely look at all this. You can definitely look at the comments or the tweets or whatever it is. But do you have a tool that can actually help you to engage with those customers who are saying that this is bad or this is good? We don't. You have the data, but you cannot act upon it. And that is where Aspect Social, or maybe then that is where I should say that we need to think more about putting people who can effectively engage with customers. And that is why we say we should put the contact center at the forefront in terms of social media engagement. So yes, like I said, the essence of social media is to have conversations. So what is happening is we have all these monologues coming from the customer. We just see the data that, okay, people are saying good, people are saying bad, but we cannot exactly act upon it. So why the contact center? like I said, the marketing team is going to, it can only go so far in actually helping you protect your brand value. But what exactly does brand value or brand reputation mean at the end of it is you need customer satisfaction, customer retention, customer loyalty. And that is something very much tied up with our contact center objectives. So why the contact center? You have the right people. So unlike the marketing team who can only tell you, okay, so you have a problem. I'll acknowledge that. Maybe what I can tell you is, maybe you can visit our, say, online web portal, or you can try to contact our, call center. Just try calling into this number and someone might help you, or use web chat. So that's where it stops. That's the maximum help that they can offer you or your customers. So they are not going to be able to follow up after that. So how many customers do you think are actually going to pick up the phone just because someone from marketing told them that, okay, please call into the contact center? Do we have a way of following up that actually happened? Do we have a way of following up if the customer is actually happy, if they have been serviced? No, we don't. We cannot track any of these conversations. But in the case of the contact center, you can, because you have the agents who are the right people. They have been, already engaged with your customers on a one-on-one basis. They do that daily over voice, email, and web chat. So social media is just going to be another medium for them to interact with the customers. So they have the knowledge, they have the right process in place, they have the right tools, like CRM, knowledge base, so that they can engage more effectively with customers. And that is why we say contact center is the place. So what this means is that you're going to be able to act upon those conversations. That is the difference. Social monitoring will just listen for trends. It's going to give you an idea of whether good is happening or bad is happening. But what can you do about the bad is something that the contact center can actually help you with. But not the tools to manage a social dialogue. That's the only thing lacking for the contact center. Okay, so let's talk about bringing social media into the contact center. So we already, so now you might start thinking, okay, so social media in the contact center sounds like a good idea, sounds like something that we should be doing. But you might start thinking on the lines of, if I'm going to bring into the contact center, what kind of challenges I might face? So the marketing team is, they are marketing folks after all. So they exactly know how to, respond on a public platform like Facebook and Twitter. They know how to manage customers. But that's all they would do. They'll just, give very nice responses and just stay away from all the bad stuff. So they are going to, they're just going to direct you to the contact center folks, or say, they're going to just divert the problem away from them. So so let's talk about it first from the perspective of a manager or a supervisor or a contact center supervisor. So when you tell him that, he's first going to start thinking, okay, so if I'm going to actually use my agents for, staffing on social media, if I'm going to have them log into Facebook and Twitter, how am I going to measure what they are doing? Are they actually going to be effective, or are they checking their own Facebook posts and Twitter posts? Are they actually servicing my customers, or are they, having their own fun on Facebook? So and plus, you're not going to be able to measure agent metrics. You cannot do that with social monitoring. Whoever is, monitoring social media, you're not going to be able to see, how many posts they are checking, are they responding to the customers. They can't even respond to the customers in case of social monitoring. So contact center agents, they would be doing that. So you need to measure if they are doing it for the right person, if they are responding to the right party at the right time and within the given SLAs. Because let's face it, you have your voice and non-voice channels to which you apply all the agent metrics, right? So when you're engaging with your customer on social media as well, why should that be left out? So that's what a manager is primarily going to think. How about my KPIs and metrics, to sum it up? And let's think about it from the agent. You're actually going to put agents at the forefront. Now, we have to understand that this is slightly going to be a different breed of agents. In the case of voice and non-voice, it's going to be more like a one-on-one interaction. So at the most, your supervisor might just do some silent monitoring and that's it. The loop is closed. But in the case of social media, you're actually conversing on a public platform like Facebook and Twitter. So anything that your agents do and say, it's going to have a large impact. If it's a good impact, it's going to be a really good impact, because if someone says, good service, I like what you did, then there are some 100 other friends of that person who will say, oh, maybe I should try that too. But it can happen the other way around as well. So what we need to do is that we need to look at this from an agent's perspective. So let's help the agent also to understand whom should you be responding to? What kind of post that you should be replying to? Because the volume of content on social media is just way too huge for an agent to actually sit and decide, okay, so